So just to get started, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Mm-hmm. So I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, county. I'm like right on the Catonsville, Baltimore line.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I've been here my whole life, same house with my parents, ready to explore the world and get out of Maryland. But I mean, I like it. It seems to be that a lot of businesses are booming like within DC and Baltimore area. So, I don't feel like I'm missing out on too much, but just to see what else is out there would definitely be good.
No, I definitely advocate for it. I tell people all the time, like, even if it's just you take a road trip somewhere that's maybe 8 hours away, it's something different. Not everyone wants to drive 8 hours. Even if it's not 8 hours, maybe even an hour away that you've never been to. I always tell people just to experience something different. So definitely, when you can, definitely get out. I think it'll be really good. You get like a lot of inspiration. That's something that we talked about recently, just getting out of your comfort zone, just seeing different things sometimes can be really inspiring. So
yeah, that's true. I can't wait to get back up to New York. I feel like I haven't been, I guess, like since last year, the pandemic and everything. But yeah, definitely. And it's crazy because when I was younger, like I didn't really like the busyness of it, but it's just so much going on to like see, and especially like the little pop-up like museums and stuff and the art exhibits. I like that too.
Yeah, I'm actually going to see the Cause exhibit this Thursday. It's in the Brooklyn Museum. And I was just like, I want to see a bunch of different exhibits. I'm like, if anybody wants to go to anything, just let me know. If you ever want to go to anything in New York, let me know. We could go.
Yes.
I'm always down to do things. So when you were younger growing up, were you always a creative kid, or is crocheting something that was something new to you?
Yeah. So I kind of don't know when I started, but I did art like in middle school, high school, like all of my classes, not all of them, but majority of my classes were art classes, like painting, drawing, and things. And I tried knitting like once in middle school, but it wasn't really like clicking for me. I didn't start crocheting until college, and like being a freshman, I guess, like besides my classes, like I had all this free time that I wasn't really using to, like go out and do stuff. I was like still shy. I'm an only child. So I was in my dorm room and like looking for things to do. And I was like, you know what? Like, let me teach myself how to crochet. And I just liked it that it didn't like take too much from me to do, like you can do it while you're watching a movie. Right. And I was just making stuff and trying new stuff. And then like, I always had like this business kind of like side of me that I wanted to not necessarily like make a profit, but I like to be able to like sell things to people that's like of value. Right. So that's just kind of how it started. Like I started making like little hats and it was like, 2 for $5, whatever. And that's just how it grew. And I just kept learning like different patterns or I got stitches, and then I moved into clothing and like this whole fashion world that was just like already there, especially like the Black girl crochet community. And I was just like, ooh, this is a lot.
That was really dope. So what is the difference between knitting and crocheting? The easiest way explained.
Right. Well, the easiest way, knitting, you have 2 needles. Crochet is just 1 hook. I was looking for one, but I tried to clean up, so it's all cleaned up. But so just the 2 and the 1. So the technique of like going in and out with the hook and the yarn is different. I can tell by like looking at it, like the stitches, and then like sometimes knitting is like tighter. Like so if you go to like the store and you see like a knit dress, you won't necessarily see the holes through it. Right. Which is crochet is like a little bit looser.
Gotcha. So you would say, you said you did the knitting before. Would you think that knitting is more difficult, or you just kind of just couldn't get into it?
I think it is because like it's more like, okay, the crocheting, like when you mess up, because I make mistakes like all the time, like you can kind of just like go back, like take the yarn and go back a couple stitches and just keep going. With knitting, it's like you gotta put the stitch onto the hook and cast it and all this extra stuff. So I would think like crochet is more forgivable for mistakes and things.
what's your favorite type of stitch? Because I know there's all different types of like patterns and whatnot. So what would you say is like your favorite one that you usually typically use on your different, you know, garments and whatnot?
Yeah, I'm very basic. Like, so it's basically you got like single crochet, double crochet, and half double crochet, which is like the basic stitches they teach you from the jump. And I still like use them. And it's like you can go into like butterfly and flower and all these extra, which give you like that kind of like lacy, pretty feel. But I just like, you know, a clean, crisp row. So I definitely stick with like the regular half double crochet and single crochet.
Got you. Because it's cool. You definitely see the difference in them all. But then once you kind of like know the names of it, it's like, okay, I see how this is different. Like I know it's all done.
Yeah.
You just have so much variety and so much that you can do with it. I was actually like amazed looking at DCCrochets. It was amazing. I was like, how the hell? I'm like, there's hats, there's bathing suits, there's dresses, like scarves. I'm like, there's literally everything. And I think it really is, it's a really good introduction to the world of crochet. I will say that because, you know, looking at your work, I was just like, I didn't know that it was so, I was seeing it on like TikTok and stuff like that before, but like, it's a lot. So I know that you participated with the Raw Artists premiere show back in 2020. What was that like? How was that experience for you, you know, getting to share your work in that magnitude?
Yeah, I really liked it. So I modeled like throughout college and like a little bit before, but like, so I always had that kind of like fashion show, like, I don't know, like I know how it runs. I know like how it goes. Right. So, you know, like she was like, oh, you got to pick your models. Okay. You got to pick this. So it was real kind of like second nature to me. And, you know, like being on the stage and all that stuff. It was cool to be able to just like really put myself out there and have people like saying my business name. And like, I had people come to me and was like, oh, DCCrochets, like DC. And I'm like, but you know, like she was saying like she wanted to support because it was from DC, and I was like, no, it's my initials, but you know, go ahead and support. Yeah, that's fine. So definitely, and like, yeah, like really putting myself out there is weird because, you know, like 2020, like it was a whole like the momentum shift because I was going from like, you know, friends and family that know me to just like a broader like Instagram community getting to know me, and then, you know, like telling them like, get ready for what's coming up next. And I was going to be out more, but really couldn't do that. So it's definitely a great start to 2020, but it's fine.
So speaking on that, how did COVID like affect your creativity? Because I asked a lot of people, you know, some people have this, I've noticed kind of like this wave trend where at first it was just like, you know, complete creative block. There was really nothing that you can really like get into. And then some people got back into it again where it just went into overdrive. So, you know, which side of the totem pole would you feel like you fit? Or do you think you're more kind of like that wave person and kind of like up and down, you know? Sometimes it was like nothing, and then sometimes you just were creating pieces like crazy.
I think I was pretty like creatively like pretty blessed. Like I'm pretty sure all of these, I don't know if you can see my little rack that I actually set up like during the pandemic, like most of this I did this year. And I was just like, you know, like making stuff, putting it on the rack and like watching it kind of like build. And that kind of like kept me like inspired and going, because, you know, you don't want to just see one piece on a rack. You want to see it full. But I guess like the beginning of 2020, I had set the goal to like go to more shows, be out there, like getting in the community more. So I had to shift from that to like, okay, I'm just going to improve on like my garment construction or like my social media posting. So I definitely had to shift, but I think it was pretty okay. Like I pretty much kept at a steady pace with it.
That's good. That's definitely good. And you got a lot out of it. So that's definitely So what would you say your favorite piece? Do you have it with you? Like your favorite piece overall?
That's so hard.
Or one of your favorites. One of your favorites.
I don't know. I like this top. I call it like a date top because it kind of hangs like off your shoulders and it's real like cute and girly. And I like the ruffles to it. And then also this is cotton yarn. So like I was noticing like when I would make some tops like out of like the acrylic yarn, which is kind of like what you make like a scarf with, you know, like get hot and sweaty. Where it's like cotton, like it breathes more, and you don't feel like I'm wearing like this sweater, even though like, you know, like you got a nice little neckline.
Right.
So I guess this was like my first step into learning like all the different types of fibers and different ways to use crochet.
Where do you usually find inspiration? You know, whether it's like a person, a place, you know, where do you feel like you go somewhere and that's where, you know, just automatically the creative juices start flowing and you're like, I know what I want to make next.
Yeah. So that's like, it's like a struggle point. So like with like the Black Girl Crochet community and like the Facebook groups and, you know, like it being posted on TikTok, Instagram and stuff, like I try to like stop myself from being like, oh, she made that, I want to make that. Or like, you know, people sending me stuff, which like I appreciate like people like sending me crochet stuff. Like it does inspire me a little bit, but it also kind of bogs me like my creative process into being like their creative process. Yeah. So I think like when I get to like design my own clothes, it kind of goes on like what I want to wear or like what I like about a piece, but like, oh, if it had like this kind of neckline, like I would like that. And that's what's like so cool with like crocheting clothes is like you can really just be like, get your measuring tape, measure your bust, do your crochet line, and like you can make your own clothes. Like, it's crazy because like I have a sewing machine, but like I was never like trained how to sew. And you know, you see girls like make like their own dresses and stuff. Like that's awesome to be able to be like, you go to the store and you're like, oh, I like this $60 dress, but I can make it myself.
Yeah, that is cool. That saves so much money. I always admire women who do that. Like, oh, I made it. And I'm just like, make me one too. Or teach me how to do it. Like, I would love to be like, oh, I don't have this top. Let me make it. That's so OC to me. Like, that is, and especially if you're out and someone has it on, it's like, oh, I love it. It's like, thank you. I actually made it. Right. I think that's really dope. I might have to pick something up. I don't know, because I'm always thinking of new things. I'm like, maybe I'll pick something up. I had a sewing machine maybe when I was 10. Didn't go very far.
Even like sewing, like, so I had a sewing machine when I was 10 too, right? And like, I did something where like the strings got like jammed or something. And, you know, like my mom when it goes. Yeah, she was like, so anyway, it's done. So like now that I got another one for Christmas, and like I've been watching YouTube videos just trying to like get better in it because I don't want it to jam again. But I mean, I can sew in like a straight line, you know, like add like lining to something. So I would definitely say just like YouTube and practicing, and we can do anything.
Really though, because YouTube teaches you pretty much everything. So within the next year, where do you see DC Crochets going?
I think it's still going on. What'd you say?
Where would you like it to go?
Yeah, I think it's still going on like a pretty slow incline, which I don't mind because I do want to stay small, relatively small. Like I still have like my full-time job that, you know, I want to pay the bills and have this as like my creative outlet. And like I say like my hobby all the time, and my grandfather's like, your hobby, this is supposed to be your business. And I'm like, yes, it's a business, but
my hobby first.
Yeah. And like I enjoy what I'm doing. I like try to keep like limits where I take like custom orders, and then I'm like, I can't do this right now, or like I'm on vacation, because it's still like I want to be happy doing this.
Right, exactly.
So I definitely I like getting more followers and more like people who aren't necessarily like know me from like college or high school, like has seen DC Crochets and said like, oh, this is cool, I want to keep up with her business. So yeah, and working with new people.
Exciting. I'm very excited to see where it goes, and I'll be getting a piece because I love like all of it is just so nice. You don't have to do mine super fast because I know you have a lot of work to do, but I'm just letting you know that I'm gonna do it because I love your pieces. Thank you so much for doing this. Before we go, I have one last question that I ask everyone. We're stuck on an island for 1 month. What are 3 things that you would bring with you?
Oh my goodness. On an island, I feel like I'm supposed to say like a rope and a fire starter and a fishing hook. It depends. Like, I'm sorry, I'm really indecisive. But it depends. Like, am I going to get off the island? Like, eventually, like, am I going to relax or am I going trying to survive?
On there for a month, and it's just the island.
For a month. Mm-hmm. Okay, a month. I could do a month. So yeah, I would definitely bring. I probably wouldn't bring crochet. I would probably just bring like some paper and a pencil so I can plan my crochet pieces for when I get off the island.
A fishing rod, is that what you said?
Yeah, let's do a fishing rod and then like the fire starter thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
We'll have on Naked and Afraid.
Gotcha. You're like the second person I think to have that as like something similar to that as have one of the choices. So in you somewhere. Dalis, I want to say thank you so much for doing this with me today.
Thank you for reaching out.
Of course.
Good luck with everything and your page and everything. Can't wait to shout you out and tell people to follow you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, girl. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.